What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adventure with Roger. So happy you could be here with me today. Today we're jumping into New World, and we're going to be asking ourselves, is New World as fun to play casually as it was during the beta when we were going from like level 0 to 30 or 0 to 40 in like 2 days? Obviously a lot of stuff has changed since the beta. You don't get near as many tokens from doing your faction quests. It's a little bit more of a grind now than it was. And to be honest with you, during the beta, I was personally grouping up with a group of people, and we were knocking out content like crazy. We had all kinds of keys to dungeons, and this time around, for me personally, I've had to pick up a couple of new shifts at work and stuff, and so it's kind of like I'm just more casually playing New World. And to be honest with you, I think I'm having more fun this time than I was the previous time when I was just doing everything I could to level as fast as I possibly could, to gather things as fast as I could, to find the best gathering spots and all that, and try and figure things out as fast as I could. So, this time I have a greater understanding about what's going on in the game. I kind of know which weapons I want to use already. I'm going just total fire staff the whole way because that's what I enjoy doing, and I'm just kind of gathering here and there when I feel like it, and it's just kind of like a more well-rounded experience for me. It's not like just non-stop go 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 go. Everything that's not a fire staff or a heal staff, because I'm mainly going like intelligence constitution, is just pretty much salvaged material. So I never have a problem repairing anything because I have so many salvage points. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just a whole different experience than it was last time for me personally. So one of the main things I want to talk about, guys, is the queue time. Let me make sure I'm ready for this. It's 12:50 in the morning right now, and I literally logged into the game at 12:50 a.m. and had no wait time at all. And as you can see, there's still a lot of people online on this server, and I don't have an issue at all with any of it. So it's really interesting. I am getting some frame per second lag issues on the old Streamlabs OBS over here, but on my screen I have absolutely no lag. So that's kind of interesting to me. Maybe I have like a couple too many applications open. Let me check this out real quick. A lot of people have been hitting queue times that are just completely outlandish. I'm talking like, I hit one the other night that was like 500 queue. I was like the 500th one in line, and I was like, oh my god, this is kind of outlandish. I came home from work, I took a shower, I came back, and I was like 20th in line, and that was like 5 minutes. But it definitely took over an hour for the 500. I can just imagine like 12,000 or 20,000 queue would be like a 10 or 12 hour wait. I can see how that could have a really negative effect on people, to the point where they probably would delete their character and try to get on a different server, or if they were really committed enough to playing with their friends on a specific server and they were committed to that server, that those people would probably quit for like a month and then come back when the server queues weren't just insane, and they didn't have to wait like 10 hours to log on to their character. So I can see how that would have a really negative effect on people, and I can see in my mind like 2 weeks from now, when things start to settle down a little bit and you get kind of some of the haters that are going to go ahead and leave the game because of whatever reasons, they just wanted to make their hate videos or whatever, they're going to stop playing in like 2 weeks or a month. And then I can totally see like a resurgence of like new players come in, and that will bring the server population back up somewhat, just because some people don't have the time to obviously wait in some kind of crazy queue. And if it was more than like an hour for me, I wouldn't wait for the queue because I'd be too tired from like working all day and then coming home and waiting in an hour for queue, and that takes up an hour of my playtime, so I'm gonna go do something else. And if I come back and my character's logged in, that's fine, but if it's not, I'm probably not gonna hang out for another half hour, another hour until the server queue goes away. So I can see how that'd be negative for a huge negative for some people. One thing that I do notice right now, one thing that's interesting to me is how the Syndicate came out of like nowhere. Like the first day took like 3 territories. The Marauders took like 1, and the Covenant had like nothing. And now obviously we're like a week in, and on this server, the Covenant is just like completely taking over the whole north area. And I think it has a lot to do with they just kind of like really saved up a lot of their resources before they decided they were going to actually take something. And then when they did take something, it was like immediately like, we're going to take all of this, like this whole, you can just see it right here. It's like this whole like J shape going on here. And I pretty much guarantee these 2 areas up here to the north, they're probably going to control those too, because they kind of like quietly did it. And all of a sudden, all at once, now they have these 3 territories or whatnot. But the Marauders, you know, were in beta. They were like the strong ones. I think a lot of it had to do because a lot of the like really more popular streamers all went like Marauder. And now those really popular streamers aren't really like playing New World that much. They probably are playing it like together on a specific server. And that's why there's like a 20,000 queue to get on there. And you have to wait like 12 hours or whatever. So the Marauders will probably be more popular on like a different server, but on this one I think it's kind of like more even of what you're actually going to see without the really popular streamers being on a server, because we just picked this one out of like a willy-nilly thing where we didn't really have a specific server we were going to play on, so we just picked one. And I don't think there's like any huge gigantic streamers on this server, so I think this is actually a little bit more accurate as to how the maps are actually going to look, kind of being split up between all 3 factions a little bit more evenly. So that's kind of cool. Another thing, guys, is obviously the crafting system has been altered a little bit. I think it's a little bit, the item level of the items is a little bit better than it was in beta. I remember in beta I would craft something and it would suck compared to what I was already using that I got from like a dungeon or a rare item I got from something just randomly. Obviously the green uncommons, those were easy to come by, but the rares were a little bit harder to come by. But now when I craft something, it's a lot more impactful on me actually using the item because I don't have anything that's better. So I really think that they did a great job. Like, that's totally switched around from the way it was in the beta. It was like you'd craft something and it was like, this is just barely not as good as what I was already using, but now it's clearly better than what I was using. So I think they did a great job there. I love being able to craft something and being like, hey, I crafted this and I'm actually using it. It makes it feel so much more impactful to me personally as a player. I love that. So kudos to the developers. You know, now that players kind of see that doing the main storyline is like so important, I think that now you see people actually taking time out of their day to get like the main storyline quest done, which is really kind of cool. Before it was kind of like, we're just gonna rush, we're gonna level, but I think that the experience levels from the monsters themselves has been slightly lowered, and so now people say, okay, let's buy into the questing a little bit more. And now instead of just like going out and grinding through like the areas where the mobs were a little bit more dense, I think a lot of players were doing that instead of like completing the main storyline quests, and now they're more focused on doing like the board in town, getting the bounties done, doing the main storyline quests, and then questing as much as possible. Whereas before, you'd find a group of individuals doing a lot more like open world, just PvE stuff. So that's kind of switched in a way. I don't know that I like it as much. I don't really like theme park MMOs as much as sandbox. And to see players doing a lot more of the questing and stuff is fine. I personally don't think I'm going to do that and just run through every quest and level up as fast as possible this time around. Keen to do that because I just don't feel like I'm going to enjoy it as much. I'd rather just really take in the world this time around. And since I know I'm going to hit max level anyways in a couple months or whatever. And so it's not really important to me to just rush through the content this time. But, you know, if you are, that's fine. That's cool. I'll see you when we get there, I guess. So one thing I also have noticed, guys, is that a lot of people are like hoarding and stockpiling a huge amount of resources. And I'll see them talking about it sometimes in chat, but I'll also see like the same individuals gathering from like the same area for like a couple days in a row, which is kind of cool because it shows to me that the economy of the game is actually really successfully working, and people are farming for resources because they see that what they're doing is working to their advantage. And one of the first things you see when an economy in a game is no longer functioning properly is every crafting node everywhere you go will just be spawned. It'll be just everywhere you go, you can get every crafting node you want because nobody cares, right? But in a healthy economy and in a healthy environment in an MMO, those resources are going to be gone almost every time you go there. So you really have to like hunt down the best spots and stuff, so to speak, to get the resources that you need, especially when you have so many people on a server that's so populated like this. You see everybody just waiting around for stuff to respawn so that they can get those that resource node, and it's kind of fun to see that, honestly. So that's one thing that I really like so far about what I've seen is everyone, you know, fighting over resources, so to speak. It's not like they're PvPing for it, because obviously there aren't areas in the game that are just PvP. You have to flag up before you leave town. So that's kind of cool that people don't have to PvP if they don't want to. I think, oh, look at that large bass. That's a big honking sucker. I like how I just put it in my pocket. I think the fishing is great. It's relaxing. It's fun. Obviously, I could sit here and I could talk to you guys. I can watch YouTube videos or whatever I need to do and still fish, which is nice, but it's also still fun at the same time. So that's a good thing. There's tons and tons. I totally missed that. I was going to say there's tons and tons. Guilds recruiting. That's all. Obviously, the game is healthy at this point. You're going to see a lot of people recruiting, but when an MMO starts to go downhill, that's one thing that you don't see anymore, is people trying to recruit in chat channel. And I think that games that put in guild recruitment pages where you can just go up and try to sign up for a guild, they start to really suffer, because it starts making the communication between players start to go down more and more the more those type of systems that you put into a game. So obviously, like if they put a LFG system in this game, that would lower the player communication even more, so they didn't have to communicate to make a group. Every single time you put one of those type of things into an MMO, it takes away from the player interactions. Your MMO starts to become less and less of an MMO. And so I'm really happy to see that they don't have any of those systems in the game. And I think it's going to work to their advantage in the long run. Medium pike, baby. All right. So final thoughts, guys. Is New World better playing casual than it is playing it like every single day? Obviously, people that don't have to work right now are going to play the crap out of it. I think it's good either way. Honestly, I'm not going to be a hater. I think that the game suffers right now because of a lack of content. I feel like if I was playing New World right now, I hope I don't get a bunch of hate from saying that, but if I was playing New World right now as hardcore, I feel like I'd already be close to max level, and I wouldn't be having as much fun with it. I hope that makes sense. But I'm also just playing it casually this time, so I'm not going to say anything negative about the game, because I really like the game, honestly. I think there's a lot of things that will continue to become better about the game. I think they have a really solid platform, it does everything pretty well. I don't see a bunch of negative downsides about it, but obviously if I absolutely had to choose something, I would say that the content will become stale after a few weeks of grinding and doing the same thing every single day. But you know what? I know they're going to add to the game, so I can't really say that's a downside at this point. And the game just came out a few days ago, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I hope you guys are really enjoying it too. We're going to make a whole shit ton of New World videos, and yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Check out the description to my social media, Patreon, if you feel like throwing me a couple of shekels. And check out the Discord link and all that good stuff in the description. My name's Roger, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Take care of yourself, everybody.